Hello, this is Matt Singer. I'm the Arts and Culture Editor at Willamette Week, and today I'm speaking with Logan Lynn, who you might know as a longtime Portland musician and artist, who is also the Director of Public Relations for .gay. And Logan, maybe it'd probably be best for you to kind of explain in sort of the most basic terms what .gay actually is.
Sure, totally. Hi, thanks for having me on. .gay is like it's a domain, just like .com, .edu, .org, but way more fabulous.
This is the end result of a I guess like a multi-month or year-long process to get .gay registered as a top-level domain name. Can you give me a little bit of background on the actual movement?
It takes years and years and years. So .gay actually, this whole process really kicked off. I came into the picture in 2013 around like being a supporter of it conceptually. And then, I'm not a tech bro. It kind of turns out that I am a tech bro now, but accidentally. So I don't have like a deep history within the industry of like how this stuff works, but it's complicated, like the ICANN people who sort of regulate the internet opened it up a few years back, and people got to apply for different domains, and .gay was one of them.
And can you tell me like what goes into the registration process? Like, how are you, like, what do you have to do to actually make this a reality?
Yeah, well, there's like all of this technical stuff that happens with like the internet overlords way up here, and that's about sort of like a application process, and there's all different kinds of things that go into that. The cool part about what we're doing with .gay is that it's also really community focused, so unlike other top level domains, we have a give back, and it's all about LGBTQ visibility and safety. So I kind of came into the picture a year and a half ago to help shape those pieces. And I think that's really unusual in fact, I know it's unusual for the industry to be thinking about community, be thinking about give back, certainly to be thinking about how to keep people safe from trolling and things on their platforms. So it's been really cool to be able to be part of like a radical shift in an industry that I certainly have a long history with myself.
So maybe just kind of walk me through here. So if somebody wants to register, for a sort of LGBTQ focused website,
sure,
and they want to use this as they would use .gay as the end part of their web address. What is the benefit for them to doing that?
Well, it's gay, so that's good, right? Just as the baseline, I'm very gay is good. That's how I approach the world. But I think if you think of it like Pride Parade, right? So like every year for the past 50 years, as of this year, it's the 50th anniversary of the first time LGBTQ people stood up together in daylight and celebrated who they were. It wasn't a riot. It was like, marking a riot, but it was the first time like 50 years ago that word gay showed up in the media. So thinking about .gay as like the next step of the sort of Pride journey, I think this year it's been really interesting to watch Pride festivals get canceled. And this thing as an LGBTQ person, as a gay man, this thing around connection is really important. It's essential, actually, right? Like that's the reason queer community centers exist, because it's hard to find each other, and we're all experiencing so much that we actually need each other. So I honestly think, as an LGBTQ person, the visibility piece is not unlike why you would register for a float in the Pride Parade, right? Like you're trying to connect, you're trying to show that you care about a community, that you belong to and stand for a community. So all of those pieces are just like, visibility is great, safety in numbers, we can find each other, awesome. And oh, by the way, like, why shouldn't the internet be gayer? That's just sort of my take. But I think the other piece of like, so you want a .gay name, why? We are going to keep you safer. We're keeping the people who visit your site safer. This idea that the internet doesn't have to be a terrible place for queer people, for gay folks like myself, it shouldn't be radical, but it actually is kind of a radical take that we have these enforceable policies. You know, I spent years being trolled and had no recourse. And so to be able to build this in a direction where people can swiftly feel seen and heard and have us take action quickly, which we've already done, that's a real benefit to people like me who have, you know, public gay businesses that get attacked by 1 million moms and by, you know, whoever else. And oh, by the way, there's like, you know, 20 of those 1 million moms, but you know, that we are under actual attack. And I think our brands suffer that some as well. The other piece that's a benefit is, you know, every name registered, we make a donation to GLAAD and Centerlink. So Centerlink is the organization where all these 250 LGBTQ community centers are sort of under. They're like the mothership. And GLAAD, you know, all of our marketing for .gay, all of our language, all of that is based on GLAAD's recommendations. So every time somebody registers a name, online, we're like increasing LGBTQ visibility, making it better, making the internet gayer, but we're also actually making life better in the real world by supporting those two organizations.
Can you tell me a little bit more about those, about the safety aspect? And you say you have some enforceable measures that make, you know, a .gay website safer. Can you go into more detail about that?
Yeah, so .gay rights protections is the policy. It's, you know, I think of it as being really groundbreaking. If you look at it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Don't be hateful. Don't torture gay people. But in reality, those policies just don't exist elsewhere. And if they do, they exist so tech companies can sort of point to them and be like, go get yourself a court order, or 28,000 court orders, one per post. Like, you know, some of that trolling stuff is like, you can't as an individual, and even as a business, even as a person like me who's pretty public and has like a publicist and all the, you know, I have a team, it was too much for us. So we really built those policies based largely on what I had gone through and what I would have needed. Places like Reddit or Facebook or YouTube or Google, any of the places that were real hands off with my torture, we leaned in and thought about how we can do better. We certainly are not like the internet police. Like I feel like sometimes people picture me in my office like I'm like combing for hate. Like that's not it. But there's a report feature where if you experience hate, if you come across a site on the .gay platform that is anti-LGBTQ in any way, you click a button and we're there. And I will say, like, day one, we took down 3 or 4 sites. It's been quick, and that continues. We have a community of people in-house that address content. We also have all these community partners from LGBTQ organizations that help us think about abuse. And trolls are real tricky these days, you know? So like, it's a smart game they're playing, but I think we're smarter.
That's interesting. People were actually registering for a .gay domain name and were expressing anti-LGBTQ views.
Oh yeah, even in the URL, like we tried to think about what are the grossest URLs and like did some pre-work to get them out of there, but people are just relentless. Some of it was directed at me, actually, like a lot of it was trolls that just follow me everywhere I go, but some of it was also just straight up weird anti-gay hate speech, and we took it down. And the beautiful part of that is we made a donation, right? So thank you, trolls. You don't get your site, we can legally take it down, and oh, by the way, you helped, you know, keep LGBTQ people safer.
Wow. So who are some of the adopters of this so far?
Yeah, so George Takei, big I love me some Uncle George, Billie Jean King, which, you know, some people like that has been really cool thinking about the 50-year journey and how .gay may be the next step in that. You know, I really love thinking of it as like a digital pride parade. And so being able to honor some of those original queer heroes of mine and get them on the platform early on has been really cool. Grindr.gay is a site that exists and I'm sure is popular. There are a number of celebrities and musicians on there. LoganLynn.gay is a site. My movie is on there. There's also, you know, tons and tons and tons of community groups. So if you go to ohey.gay, there is a list of all of these featured sites. It's super diverse. And I think that's been one of the coolest things is, you know, we did all this work thinking about what would the .gay family look like? What does the .gay community look like? And it's way more diverse than even sort of our diversity dreaming could have dreamt up. It's been really cool to see people make it their own.